Talk a little bit about being a subject matter expert as far as the recruiter. I just had this conversation because this is what happens, and I say this a lot. The hiring manager says, "Okay, go find this person or whatever," right? After our intake call, and then it's like, "This is the best candidate. You said you wanted A, B, C, D, E. He has A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, but there's something you don't like." How do you deal with that? Because that happens way more often than it should. Because we're the ones who know exactly what you're looking for, but we know what it is most of the time. But there are times I'm just completely baffled. Tell me how you deal with that.
So I had to learn to push back and where I can push back and who I can push back with.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is that fine line of there are a lot of managers and hiring managers who think we work for them as opposed to with them because they have a rank or they have a pay grade or they make so much more than me. At the end of the day, we're working together as a team. So sometimes it's pushing back. Okay, well, you mentioned that you were looking for A, B, C, D. And it sometimes it's, hey, when you had the interview, did he discuss, because I have the notes from mine as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he did discuss those things. So what are we missing that we're not making the offer? And I listen for them to tell me something that doesn't make sense. Oh, we're afraid that we might lowball him. Okay, so if that's the thought pattern, is there room to go up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he told me he was looking to make this amount and the role doesn't pay that amount. Well, everybody's looking to make more. That does not
Mm-hmm.
mean they won't accept this amount. Or we don't want to offend them with it. The offense is not giving me the opportunity.
Exactly.
Now, if I told you I wanted 200K and this role pays 80, that may be different. But if we're maybe they're trying to see what your range is because you weren't clear about it. If this person checks all the boxes, I'd rather them tell me no than I tell myself no. So I'll push back, or I'll say, okay, well, ask you directly, what didn't you like? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, I didn't like. Okay, is that teachable? It's one of my main. Is that teachable? Whatever it is that this person is missing, is that teachable? Do they have the aptitude and the attitude to learn? Whatever this is, that's my biggest thing in life. Attitude and aptitude. Are they going to come in with an attitude and go, I don't want to do this, it's not my job? Okay, fine. But if they're coming in and they're saying, I'm willing to learn this, this, and this to get there, and I have the knowledge to learn it and to take it in, then why are we not doing it? We are missing, and I also remind them, the longer we keep this role open, the more it costs everyone money. Because that's something that a lot of companies don't realize. If we are overworking our current employees because we're missing someone, we risk burnout for that employee. We risk that employee quitting because they're tired. We risk work not being done sufficiently or to a level of the standard because we're missing someone. And then we're risking because now we waited another 3 months. That's 3 months we could be behind the power curve. Okay, so if we didn't want this gentleman, do we have someone that we do want to make the offer to? No, keep looking. Okay. Are you the only one making the decision? Okay. Sometimes if that's it, there are certain things. And last but not least, I'll use my management if I have to. Hey, I just want you to be aware that this person was declined and they check all the boxes. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Because what I have realized is recruiters and talent acquisition partners can be the subject matter expert and still not be respected because they don't have that title of director or VP, to where if my VP says the exact same thing that I've said, now it's taken more seriously. So you kind of have to use that, but being a
Mm-hmm.
subject matter expert is difficult because it also goes, well, you should trust my judgment.
Yes.
And I actually said to one of my lower levels, I said, well, if we're being honest, because we had that type of relationship, I said your hires aren't batting 1,000. So what's the risk if I make this offer or I tell you that this is the one and you make the offer and it doesn't work? It's the same thing that's been happening. And if it does work, we're ahead of the curve. So
Mm-hmm. I've also found that a lot of the work falls on the hiring manager. Why they don't have this, and I'm like, okay, cool. And so I actually once said, so you told me you're getting burned out, you're tired, you're having to work on Saturdays, but this person you don't think that has checked every box that you told me to check, this is why you're not making a hire?
Mhm.
Like, what's the reason you're not tired? You're not this? And they kind of sat back for a second and got quiet. You really do have to form a partnership.
Mhm.
And in a partnership, you have to keep each other honest.
Mhm.
And you have to say, hold up, okay, so what are we doing? And so I love what you said because you ask a lot of questions that I've had to do before in the past. Just like, okay. And then there's also the legality part
Mhm. That's the
where they
big
don't even want to do interviews. And I'm like, hold up, by law,
my,
they have all the preferred qualifications,
yep.
and I've interviewed them. And I'm sorry, they have all the basic and they have the preferred. I've interviewed them. There's been times where there was a sourcer that interviewed them before I did, and I'm like,
Mhm.
hold up, two people like this person, they have
Right.
everything. But you don't even want to interview them. Why is that?
Why? And the other side of it is if they do interview them and that we don't get the offer, I push back now because I've learned that sometimes you have to.
Hmm.
Um, I almost had like not an argument, but like I low key had to check a hiring manager one time because I said, okay, well, this is as important it is for me to fill this role as it is for you to have the employee. I'm the recruiter here. I know what you're looking for. So let's do this. I'll do that my part, you do yours. And understand that I know what's best for your team because that's why I'm here.
Hmm.
And I push back, okay, not a good fit is not an answer to me. I don't care
Hmm.
what role we're filling, from director to manager to supervisor to hourly. Not a good fit is not an answer to me. What is not a good fit about this person? Is it on your team? Is it with you? I want answers, and hiring managers hate that. I follow a bunch of like HR pages on Instagram and things like that, and I see that we're all kind of going through some similar things where you have the perfect candidate, and the hiring manager still goes, "I want to interview a few more people." I've asked the manager, "Okay, so let's do this. Let's interview 3 more people. What happens if you lose this person in that 2 weeks that it took to hire? Oh, you really, this is the one you want, but let me just interview. What happens if you lose them? Oh, then I'd be in trouble. Then why are we not making the offer right now?"
That happens. So that's why I just put my head down. I was like, oh my God. And then they want the first person, but you like them. I like them. Other companies like them too.
Yeah.
People don't apply for one job. I
No.
don't know how many times I've said this. I asked my hiring manager, "Did you just apply for this company, or did you apply for several companies?"
So much so they don't even know who's calling them. And what's it about
Yes.
again? Oh, okay, yeah. I've asked for interviews from myself. I said, "Can you do me a favor? Can you resend me the job description because I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that I'm in an alignment with what we're talking about because it could have been on Indeed, it could have been on somebody could have
LinkedIn,
contacted."
Career Builder. Yep, all of that. It is a lot out here. I'm definitely. First of all, thank you so much for this talk.
Of course.
Um, a lot of people don't understand DNI, and I think they'll understand it a little bit more today. I really believe so.
Can I
What was I
can I
gonna?
touch on something really quickly?
Oh, go ahead.
Because when we were talking about the equity part of it, I used this slide when I was presenting to my current team
Okay.
uh, of a bicycle, and it's your standard bike, and it says, "Hey, being equal is giving everyone this bike." Where you had somebody that was 2 feet tall, you had somebody that was 7 feet tall, you had somebody in a wheelchair, and you had the perfect fit for the bike. That's being equal. Being equitable is having a bike that works for them to get to the goal. And I think that that's where a lot of things get lost. Oh, well, we asked everybody the same set of questions, and we made everybody do a test. People, not everybody's a great test taker.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you what, I won't do is like I told you earlier. You're not gonna outwork me, or you'll go. I had, ironically, I had a manager say, "Well, I didn't really like them because of their how they dressed. They weren't they weren't dirty, but they weren't just like polished." And I go, "But do they work?
Mm-hmm.
They've been at their current job for 6 years, and they're looking to move up. They moved up at their current job. I don't care what they look like if we're talking about getting work done. If that's what we're here for, I don't care if they're not attractive. I don't care if they don't dress in three-piece suits, especially after the pandemic. It
Mhm.
it hurts me to put on real pants to go to work sometimes because I know that I can do the same work, if not better, from upstairs. But I get it. But we miss out on talent because we have these. They gotta look like this or they gotta do this, and we miss out on talent because we're not making smart business decisions. We're making personal decisions.
I so agree. And I think, like you said, you watch I'm on LinkedIn and there's so many posts saying the exact same things we're talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I missed out on the perfect candidate. Oh, I did this. The hiring manager's not listening. Like,